Hello and welcome back to All the Words She Wrote. Last time we had our little summer adventure and now it seems to be fall, September to be more precise. So, let's continue. Later that month. Congratulations, Hijiri! You've done a wonderful job. I'm so proud of you. I couple my congratulations with a pop of a party popper, which I bought on the sly during the last grocery run. Colorful crepe paper explodes from the popper, then scatters across the tatami floor. The overall effect is somewhat less bombastic than I had hoped. It's rather underwhelming, in fact, but I hope my enthusiasm makes up for it. I can't help but be enthusiastic, for the long-awaited day has finally arrived. Volume 9 of Elf Forest has been released, and I'm anxious to get my hands on it. I want to head to the nearest Kinokuniya right away, so I can tear through Itsuki's latest adventure. But I was able to abstain long enough to prepare Hijiri a celebratory breakfast. This is Hijiri's special day, not mine. She's Elf Forest's creator, and Elf Forest is her baby. The lead up to Volume 9's release, or birth if you want to continue the metaphor, was a long, arduous process, but she's finally accomplished it. I think she should be happier about this than anybody else, but Hijiri, alas, doesn't seem to agree with my hypothesis. She stands in the doorway of the living room, dressed, as per usual, in an oversized tracksuit. The bags under her eyes are pronounced, though not to a worrying degree, and her lips are pursed into an inexpressive line. She eyes the crepe streamers curled on the tatami floor, like the discarded skins of many colorful caterpillars, and frowns. I thought I hired you to keep my house tidy, not make unnecessary mess. I hope you're going to clean that up later. Of course I am. That should go without saying. Should it really though? With you, I can never tell. Now, what is all this for? Hijiri tears her eyes away from the paper streamers towards the tabletop, where the real star of the show sits. There, resting on a large circular plate, is an extravagant strawberry shortcake, topped with smooth white icing and shining gem-like strawberries. I know cake isn't a standard breakfast food, but today isn't a standard day. Cake is a perfectly acceptable breakfast food, especially on an extra day, of course, but on any standard day as well. Come on. I wanted to go the extra mile to commend Hijiri's achievements, and pancakes seemed far too simple. I know Hijiri likes pancakes, but even a child can whip those up if given the right ingredients. A decadent cake, packed full of sponge and cream, seemed the way to go. Did you bake this for me? Yep, I bought all the ingredients on the sly and woke up bright and early to put it together. I thought maybe you'd like it, since you're a fan of Western sweets. I sampled a bit of it while I was mixing the icing, and I can confirm that it's very, very sugary. Hijiri ponders, one hand beneath her chin. It seems a bit excessive. I hope you're not expecting me to eat the whole thing. I like sweets as much as the next girl, but that much icing sugar would give me heart palpitations. I figured. Hijiri is very small, and this cake is very large. In retrospect, I might have gone a bit overboard. Don't worry, Hijiri. I can cut you a small slice, if you want it, that is, and we can stash the leftovers in the fridge. It should keep for a little while. I just want to make you happy. Is that so? Hijiri glances away, her head bowed. I think my earnestness must have penetrated her austere exterior, because her cheeks are beginning to turn pink. You're such a busybody, Mayo. You can't leave well enough alone. I never asked you to do any of this, but... well... Hijiri swallows. I can tell you went through a lot of effort. I'm glad you're so excited about Elforest's newest volume, even if I'm not, and, Hijiri glances shyly back at me, beneath her eyelashes. The cake you made looks delicious. It's like something you'd find in a store. You're a very talented baker. Thanks! It's like one of the only things I'm any good at. I grin, abashed, my own cheeks pinking at Hijiri's praise. I'm pretty pleased with how the cake looks myself, but it wasn't made to be stared at. The proof is in the pudding, or in this case, the cake. Sit down, Hijiri, and let me cut you a slice. How much of it do you want? A little bit is fine, thank you. Like this? That should be sufficient, yes. Alrighty. I slide the sharp silvery blade of a kitchen knife into the cake, then lever out a small slice with a strawberry on top. I place the slice carefully on a plate, which I then slide to Hijiri. I brewed some Assam tea too, to go with the cake. It should complement its sweetness. Shall I pour you a cup? Jeez, you're so desperate to please. Hijiri rolls her eyes, but I can see the smile on her lips, small though it is. You sound like a hostess at a sleazy bar. Have you been to many sleazy bars? Maybe once or twice. Was this research for your story? It was a personal interest of mine. These bars didn't live up to my expectations though. They stank of cigarette smoke and they were full of sad, overworked businessmen with thinning hair. The hostesses themselves were caked in makeup, and though they tried to act bubbly, you could see their disinterest. It was all a bit bleak. That does sound kinda grim, yeah. I muse while pouring Hijiri a cup of fragrant Assam tea. I hope I'm not bringing your mood down. No, you're not. I can tell you care a good deal more than a typical hostess. Although... you're also being paid a lot more than a typical hostess would be. Hey! I'll have you know that I'd like you even if I wasn't being paid. I'm not in it for the money. People always say that. No, in your case, I think you're naive enough to say that without any ulterior motives. You ought to be careful, or somebody will take advantage of you someday. Are you calling me stupid? Perhaps I am. It certainly wouldn't be the first time. I'm sure even you will admit that you're not the most intelligent person in the world. Not that you need to be. You have other talents. Such as? You're very kind for one, perhaps to a fault. I don't think I'm worthy of your admiration. Yes, you are. There's nobody more admirable than you. There are many, many people more admirable than I am. But I'll keep quiet for now. Speaking about bitter things might sully the sweetness of this shortcake. Hijiri picks up her fork, then slides it into her slice of cake. She brings the tines of the fork to her lips and, after what seems an unbearably long pause, slides it into her mouth. I watch Hijiri from across the table, quivering with anticipation. I don't know why, but it seems imperative, in this moment, that Hijiri should like my cake. I don't want to fail her. So, what do you think? I ask, all breathy, wide-eyed anxiety, once Hijiri swallows the first mouthful of my cake. It isn't too sweet, is it? I might have used a bit too much sugar. It is very sweet, certainly. Some people might consider it sickly. What? Oh no. My shoulders slump in tandem with the sinking of my stomach. I figured Hijiri would like the cake to be extra sweet, but even she must have her limits. This is supposed to be a day of celebration, and I've spoiled it. I really am stupid. But as I've told you many times, I'm not some people. I'm a firm believer that sweets ought to be sweet. The more saccharine, the better. Life is bitter enough as it is. Then... My heart fills with rekindled hope as, wide-eyed, I stare at Hijiri. Do you like it? I do, yes. It's a wonderful cake. So much so, it makes me feel a little sad. What? But why? I'm afraid that I don't deserve it. And once you read Volume 9 of Elf Forest, you might agree with me. Hijiri sighs. I only hope it doesn't disappoint you too much. Well, is it just insecurities in her side, or makes you wonder. I eat a slice of Hijiri's breakfast cake myself, which is so sweet it makes me shudder, then get ready to leave the house. I've put it off for much too long already, and I'm desperate to get my hands on the latest volume of Elf Forest. I ask Hijiri if she wants to come with me for the ride. Perhaps we can have a walk afterwards? But she declines. I don't know if I want to see people queuing up to read something I wrote. It's quite surreal. And it's a bit embarrassing. I didn't peg Hijiri as the reticent type, not when it comes to her writing at least, but I think it's kind of cute. Who knew she could be so humble? I reassure Hijiri that there's nothing to be embarrassed about. I'm sure Volume 9 will be great, as I finish sliding on my shoes by the front door. Then I bid Hijiri goodbye, which she responds to half-heartedly and step outside. I've made the drive to the nearest town dozens of times during the last few months, mostly for groceries. These meandering countryside roads once perturbed and confused me, but I'm pretty familiar with them now. I can take even the tightest hairpin turns with relative ease, reassured in the knowledge that few people travel around these parts. The journey should be pretty relaxing. But this morning it seems to take way longer than it should. I feel tense and on edge, my fingers wound tightly around the steering wheel. Every second spent not reading the newest volume of Elf Forest seems like a second wasted. I'll bet the nearest Kinokuniya has been flooded with people since it threw its doors open. The really hardcore fans might have camped out in front of the shop overnight, Though I don't know if Elforest has any followers out here more ardent than me. Some people will have gotten their grubby hands all over Volume 9 already. The really speedy readers might have finished the whole thing. I bet the internet will be flooded with spoilers about the latest story developments. People will be picking apart every single plot beat, trying to puzzle out what happens next. Has the plot with the Arcanists been resolved? What about Lucy's supposed betrayal? Will Itsuki find the missing Luluna in time? And, most pressingly of all, will Itsuki and Luluna finally kiss? The hype is really starting to get to me. I'm so excited, I can scarcely sit still. Though that might be an after effect of all the sugar I consumed over breakfast. That strawberry shortcake was devastatingly sweet. Eventually, after what feels like an eternity, I reach my destination. I park the car up in an empty lot by the supermarket, cut the ignition, and step outside. It's a pleasantly warm day, not too hot nor too cold, but my palms begin to sweat regardless. I don't have time to examine my surroundings. There's only one thing on my mind, namely Elforest. I'm so excited to grab its latest volume, I all but run to Kinokuniya, my heart thumping all the while. When I get to the bookstore, I'm greeted by a queue of people. They must have woken up early like me, spurred on by their love of Elforest. I've never seen this many people in the town before, but their numbers aren't too overwhelming. These eager Elforest fans are being waved inside the store at regular intervals by a bored-looking clerk. I don't think he understands the well-deserved Elforest hype. If he did, he wouldn't be yawning. I join the back of the queue. It takes about 10 minutes, if that, before I'm allowed inside, which is a vast improvement over the wait time I had on Volume 8. I still lived with my parents in Kawasaki back then, and I felt obliged to head over to my nearest bookstore on launch day to pick it up. That, as it soon transpired, was a big mistake. I had to queue for over an hour before I could get into the store, and once I was in, an Elforest fan stepped on my foot while another bumped my side with their elbow. I was lucky to emerge from the melee relatively unscathed, with only minor bumps and bruises. You'd think it a nice thing being surrounded by like-minded fans who share my hobbies, but Elforest fans are something else. They're kind of crazy. I should know, being a crazy fan myself. Seeing Princess Luluna's face on the front cover of Volume 9 feels a bit like returning home to a loved one. Simply gazing upon her sweet face, drawn in exquisite detail, makes me feel at ease. Lucy and Astra also appear on the cover, but they're they're bit players to Luluna's majesty, shunted to either side so Luluna can stand front and center. I take it from this composition alone, Luluna will feature heavily in this volume's plot. Could this be the volume she and Itsuki finally confirm their love? Oh, be still my beating heart. I pull a copy of Volume 9 from one of the shelves, then head over to the cash register. I pay for my purchase with shaking fingers, my body quivering with anticipation. The cashier takes an unfathomably long time to back up my purchase, or so it seems. He moves so slowly, I start to tap my foot against the ground, agitated. Can't he tell how desperate I am to start tearing through this volume? Doesn't he care? I want to be reunited with Luluna again. I have half a mind to tell him to hurry up. Kids, don't be rude to retail workers or any workers. I almost feel like I might die, but at long last he eventually hands me my purchase. Thank you for your custom. Have a nice day, ma'am. As a person with first-hand experience of how cruddy customer service jobs can be, I usually try to play nice when dealing with store clerks, but today's no ordinary day. I don't have the wherewithal to interact with ordinary humans. I just want to see Princess Lulona again. I snatch the bag from the clerk's outstretched hands, then hurry from the shop without so much as a thank you. Wow, rude, Mayo, rude. I think about driving back to Hijiri's home to commence my reading, but the half-hour delay is unbearable. I want to get stuck in right away, and so, to that end, I decide to stop by Amu Cafe. The cafe is quiet, as always, which should be a perfect environment to chew through a few chapters. Amu greets me jovially, then guides me to a seat. I order an oolong tea, then lean back in my chair and crack open my latest purchase. I only meant to read a bit of the story, but once I get stuck in, I can't stop. I tear through paragraph after paragraph, then page after page, leaving my oolong tea forgotten, unsipped by my side. Hijiri's writing is so detailed, I find myself pulled once more into the complex fantasy world of Elf Forest. The characters are just the same as I remember, but absence has rendered them even more lovable. Astra is still incapable of admitting to her true feelings, Luz is haughty and austere, and Lulona... she's every bit as charming as she's always been, despite being embroiled in a kidnapping. She's so considerate, she's even able to commiserate with her kidnappers. Princess Lulona really is a good girl. She always puts others before herself, regardless of their status. She doesn't have wings like Vita, but she might as well be an angel. I read one chapter, then another, and another. Time passes, denoted by the circular clock set up on the wall, but I pay it no heed. It feels like I've fallen down a rabbit hole, into a pocket of reality separated from the passing of time. I need to know what happens next. What will Itsuki do? What is Luz plotting? Will Lulona be rescued? Soon, too soon in fact, I reach the final chapter of the volume. Things are beginning to come to a head now. It's been revealed that Luz, despite her position as a royal knight, has been sharing information with the arcanists on the sly. She's the one who plotted Luluna's kidnapping, all for the sake of bringing down the kingdom. Luz's father was wrongfully imprisoned by the king for a crime he did not commit, and since her youth she has sworn revenge upon the royal family. Though she acts kind and mild-mannered, that's nothing more than a front. The real Luz is a deeply calculating woman who means to bring an end to the royals' rule. Itsuki, Astra and Cornelia confront Luz in the forest, where she's been hiding. Itsuki pleads with her to halt her machinations, but Luz refuses. She takes Lulona a prisoner and threatens to slit her throat should Itsuki come any closer. Itsuki hangs back, unsure of what to do. He wavers. And during this moment of indecision, one of the arcanists strikes. He means to cut Itsuki down where he stands, so he can no longer interfere with her plans, but he doesn't strike true. Lulona warns Itsuki of the danger, despite the blade held at her throat. Luz tells Lulona to hush her tongue, but Lulona doesn't listen. In tears, she confesses to Itsuki that she was the one who summoned him to Cresteria. She wanted a brave knight of her own who could protect her, but now she's placed him in a horribly difficult situation. Lulona apologizes for putting Itsuki in harm's way, and tearfully professes her love to him. Luluna tells Itsuki that, as she was the one who brought Itsuki to her kingdom, she must now give her life for his sake. It's the least she can do after all, for Itsuki has saved her many, many times throughout the last 8 volumes of Elf Forest. Luluna closes her eyes. A blinding white light surrounds her. Astra cries at her to stop. "Please halt, Your Majesty! That spell will surely kill you!" But it's too late. Luluna's magic fells the arcanists surrounding Itsuki and his party. They all drop like dominoes, including Luz, who hitherto held her blade to Luluna's neck. The danger has passed, but Luluna... Itsuki hastens to her side. He catches the young princess before she can topple to the ground, but you can tell at a glance that there's nothing that can be done. Luluna's body is heavy in his arms. Her skin is deathly pale, and her eyelashes are matted. She doesn't stir, even when Itsuki pleads with her, and Cornelia and Astra. Astra rarely expresses her emotions, but the sight of Luluna's crumpled body makes something inside her break. She sobs over the princess, her eyes full of tears, begging her to please get up. "My lady, my dear princess, my best and only friend." Astra's plaintive cries make Itsuki's eyes brim over. Salty tears drop onto Luluna's smooth white cheeks like wintry rain, but she remains insensitive to it. Her eyes remain shut, as though sewn together. She doesn't move, doesn't speak. She doesn't even breathe. No way. The final illustration in the volume of an unresponsive Luluna lying in Itsuki's arms hits me like a truck. Like the same truck which hit Itsuki in Elf Forest's very first chapter. It feels like the air's been knocked out of me. I can hardly breathe. I scan back through the last chapter, hunting desperately for some kind of sign everything will be alright. But no. The conclusion of the latest volume doesn't change. It still ends in Luluna's noble sacrifice, her lifeless body clutched tight in Itsuki's arms. Tears begin to beat in my eyes. I feel sick with shock and I can't stop shaking. Princess Luluna just confessed to Itsuki like I always wanted. She told him that she was in love with him, and then, before they could kiss, she died. Luluna sacrificed herself to save the man she loved. Now, she is no more. Her soul has departed her body. Not even Astra's magic can revive her. It's all over. Princess Luluna is dead. Okay, plot twist indeed. How could you, Hijiri? How could you? I confront Hijiri, my voice wavering, once I arrive back at her home. I was so incensed during the drive back, I almost veered off the road a few times. My heart is still hammering, both from the adrenaline of my awful driving and the shock of Princess Luluna's death. Elf Forest has always contained dark elements, but this is the first time a major character has been killed off. If anybody was going to die, I thought it would be one of the minor heroines, like Cornelia or Vita. I wouldn't have minded their passing so much. Vita barely has a presence in the story as it is. But Princess Luluna? She was the very first person Itsuki met when she was summoned to Cresteria. I was convinced that Itsuki and Luluna would fall in love, then live happily ever after. That was all I wanted. That isn't possible now, though. Hijiri has destroyed that possibility. She killed Luluna. Mayo? Hijiri starts when I enter her room. She looks surprised at my sudden entrance. And then, after swiveling about in her chair, at my expression. I don't know what I look like exactly, but my face must be frightful to make Hijiri shrink away from me like that. Mayo, are you alright? What happened? You know what happened. You know that I love Luluna. I told you she was my favorite character, but she... I swallow. Putting my thoughts into words is painful, as though by naming everything that happened in Elforest's latest volume, it'll make Luluna's fate feel even more real. I wish what I'd read had been a piece of mean-spirited fanfiction, uploaded onto some obscure corner of the internet, but no. Luluna's death was chronicled in detail in Volume 9 of Elforest, penned under Tsuchimi Rui's name. It's official, there's no denying it. There was even a full-page illustration devoted to Luluna's death. It was a beautiful illustration, but it was wasted on so macabre a scene. I could only glance at it, but it feels like it's been imbued upon my subconsciousness regardless, tattooed on the insides of my eyelids. Princess Luluna is dead! Getting this off my chest doesn't make me feel any better, as I'd predicted. I think I feel worse now, in fact, than ever before. It hurts, and yet... Yes, she is. What of it? Hijiri doesn't seem to care at all. Her cool response only adds further insult, in fact, to my existing injuries. What of it? I echo Hijiri dumbly, my eyes wide. What do you mean, what of it? Luluna's dead! And... Hijiri raises an eyebrow. Though she seemed surprised at first by my sudden outburst, I think she's begun to regain her composure. That stoic expression is back on her face, her lips pressed together as though they're made of stone. She's only a character. She fulfilled her purpose in the story, so I thought I might as well get rid of her. Don't get so worked up about it. How can I not get worked up about it? Luluna's more than just a character to me. She was Your... what? Hijiri watches me grope for words, still seated upon her chair. Her face is illuminated in the light from her monitors, so her cheekbones seem to glow in her otherwise dingy bedroom. Please don't say she was your waifu. You'll make me throw up in my mouth. She was my waifu, though. I loved Luluna. I've been a huge Elforest fan for 3 years, but it was Luluna who drew me into the world. I've reread all her most important scenes dozens of times. Whenever I felt down, I always thought of her, and she cheered me up. I have thousands of pictures of Luluna saved on my laptop, and hell, I even own her figures. I have a mug with her face on it. I love Elforest, but I love Luluna even more than that. I told you how I feel about her. I told you that I liked her, and you still killed her. How could you do that? Oh, please. Hijiri looks away from me, her lower lip curled in abject disgust. I understand being attached to fictional characters, but you're taking this much too far. Why, you're acting as though I just stabbed your grandmother to death. Both of my grandmothers are already dead. Like I stabbed your aunt or uncle or your mother or... Goodness, I don't know. Hijiri scoffs. I'm flattered that you like Luluna so much. Really, I am. But you need to keep things in perspective. At the end of the day, she's nothing but a figment of my imagination. As a creator, I can do whatever I want with her. I've been uncertain about what to do with Princess Luluna, actually, for a long time. She was the first heroine to be introduced in Elf Forest, and her character arc concluded at the end of Volume 3. Since then, she's just been taking up space. I couldn't think of any new storylines involving her, so I decided to remove her from the narrative. Given she is such a popular character, however, I thought it would be for the best if she went out in a suitably heroic way. I thought that was the best thing I could do with her. Hijiri glances at me from over her shoulder, her eyes narrowed. And if I'm being quite honest, I'd grown tired of her. It's hard to make characters interesting when they're unwaveringly, incessantly nice. I like sweets, but Luluna is too saccharine even for me. I never intended for such an insipid character to become the face of my whole series. I'm sick of receiving fan feedback asking for more scenes with Luluna and more sappy romance. That isn't what I'm interested in. It's not what I want to write. I'd hoped that by killing Luluna off, I'd had some wriggle room to write more interesting stories in Elf Forest universe. If my so-called fans can't accept Luluna's passing, then that's their loss. It proves only that their enjoyment of my series was shallow and superficial. I don't want to appeal to people like that. I couldn't care less about their opinions. What? Then... Hijiri's words pierce me more keenly than acupuncture needles. I have to take a step back, winded, though nobody has physically hurt me. I press one hand to my chest, my fingers fisting at the fabric of my shirt. My heart hurts. It's beating so hard, I'm afraid it might burst. Did you kill Luluna to punish your fans? Don't tell me you're actively trying to sabotage your own series' popularity. So what if I am? Hijiri narrows her eyes. As Elf Forest author, that's my prerogative. I can do what I want with my own series. Within reason. So I wasn't very happy, I'll admit, with the direction Volume 9 went in. Neither were the other high-ups at Horizon invested in Elf Forest's success. Sai asked me to reconsider, but I refused. My mind was made up. I told her if I couldn't do what I wanted with my story, I'd stop writing it altogether. Then the story would never be finished. That was enough to twist her arm. Princess Luluna's fate might be unpopular among my fans, but it should sell copies. At the very least, it's not boring. It should keep people invested in Elf Forest, and in the end, that's all that really matters. Hijiri. I stare at Hijiri, my eyes wide, as though I'm seeing her for the first time. My poor heart is aching. Don't you care about your fans? Don't our feelings mean anything to you? No, why should they? You're consumers, not creators. Why should I listen to you? Because we're the ones who made Elfforest popular. If it wasn't for us, you wouldn't be living in this nice house, and you wouldn't have so much money. You owe your success to us. There's a grain of truth in that, I suppose. Hitiri's brown eyes meet mine. They're cold and hard, devoid of warmth. But I don't owe you my time, nor my patience, nor my sanity. Working on Elfforest these last few years has been a profoundly miserable experience. I've been so caught up trying to please other people, both my publishers and my fans, that I wasn't able to please me. Eventually, I started to wonder what the point of writing is, if I'm not enjoying myself. I didn't create Elfforest because I wanted to make money. I created it because it was a story I wanted to create, with themes I wanted to explore. I had fun with the series once. But when Elfforest became popular, it stopped being mine. I lost sight of my original goals. I want to try and correct that. I want to write things I want to write, things that I actually find interesting. Can't you understand that? No, I don't. I can't understand why you hold your fans in such contempt, and I can't understand how you could kill Princess Luluna. I've already explained how. It was quite a simple matter. Writing Luluna's death scene only took a handful of hours. You... My fingers clench at my sides. I'm so angry, my whole body is quivering. Can't you hear how you sound right now? You sound like a villain from some cheesy robot show. And you, Mayo, sound like an escapee from an asylum getting this upset about a fictional character. Luluna might be fictional, but she felt real to me. Oh, grow up. You shouldn't get so attached to fantasy princesses, not at your age. You're an adult and you ought to act like it. Maybe you should take a leaf out of your own book. Resorting to petty name-calling isn't exactly mature. And anyway, you have no right to get mad at me. This is what you wanted. You admitted it yourself. You were trying to upset your fans. Well, you've certainly succeeded on that front. You got what you were after, so you might as well enjoy it. I spread my arms out for theatrical effect, like a character on stage. If only this were a scene from a story, like Princess Luluna's death. But it isn't. I'm standing in Hitiri's bedroom, facing her down, and I'm shouting at her. I'm really shouting. I've never raised my voice at her before. I never imagined that I'd want to, or that I'd have reason to. I was wrong. I want to be your friend, Hitiri. Really, I do. You were mean to me from the moment we met, but I persevered. I did all I could to support you and your writing, and you've thrown it back in my face. This isn't even about Princess Luluna thing. Not anymore. I didn't mention it because I didn't want to make a scene, but you always talk down to me. You're snide and you're rude and you're mean, and I don't think you've ever once cared about my feelings. I've been trying to understand you, but I don't think you've ever once tried to understand me. I'm sick and tired of having such a one-sided relationship, and I'm tired of you acting like such a stuck-up bitch. A bitch, am I? My voice rose in volume during my screed, but Hitiri's, by contrast, has become softer, meaner. She surveys me archly, through lidded eyes, before continuing. If you really think that, Then I don't think there's much point in you continuing to live with me. I'll have to ask you to leave. What? I stare at Hijiri, awestruck. It's funny, but during my diatribe, I never considered that this might happen. I must have forgotten, in my self-righteous anger, that Hijiri is more than my idol, more than my friend. She's my employer too. I've been living under the same roof as Hijiri for these last 3 months, with her approval. If Hijiri were to retract her approval, I'd have no choice but to go back to Go. Hijiri, wait. You can't be serious. But I am. I wouldn't joke about something like this. Contrary to what you might think, I'm not a sadist. I don't want to inflict my company on your father, not when it's clear it's upsetting you. As such, I think it would be prudent of me to terminate your contract. It's sad that things didn't work out between us. But the world is full of such sad things. I'm sure you'll get over it. As for me, meanwhile... Hijiri glances away from me. I can only see her in profile, but I can see her lower lip wobbling all the same. It looks like she's trying to swallow down tears. I really did think that you wanted to be my friend. I believed in you, but maybe that was a mistake. How could you ever be my friend, Mayo, when you value my stories more than you value me? You might think that I'm a bitch, and maybe I am. But at least I'm not a liar. Ooh. Okay, that went harder than I thought. And I think they both went in without much consideration for the other. I mean, getting upset that your favorite character gets killed off, sure, but you don't need to throw that in the creator's face. Like, whether you know them or not, whether they know you like the character or not, that doesn't really matter. It's something you can be angry about within the story without... I don't know how to explain it, maybe you know what I mean. Because it hurts, but you don't... Yeah, you definitely don't go to the creator and tell them what that they did wrong. I mean, yeah, it's Hijiri's story. She can write whatever she wants. Then again, the way she said it, like, yeah, whatever, I'm killing off this character, I don't care about her. Not great. But she did repeatedly tell Mayo that she's grown tired of writing Elf Forest, so it was kind of to be expected that she'd not be too invested in the characters, not really love them, obviously, which is a shame, but it is what it is. But yeah, both went a bit overboard there, and things escalated. I feel so drained after my argument with Hijiri, I can't bring myself to say or do anything. What can I say or do, really, when things have fallen apart so very spectacularly between us? Hijiri shooed me out of her home in disgrace, without so much as a goodbye, or perhaps, more appropriately, a good riddance. She didn't even deign to spare me so much as a backwards glance. Hijiri was so keen to get me gone, I only had the time to pack a few of my belongings. I stuffed some shirts and skirts into my messenger bag, but that's all I was able to take with me. The rest of my clothes are folded up in the drawers of Hijiri's newly unoccupied guest bedroom, along with all of my Elf Forest merchandise. I wonder wonder if I'll be able to get my stuff back. I'd like to get my hands on my elf forest figures at least, but not even the thought of my Princess Lulana 1 in 7 scale can console me. How can it, when the character who inspired said figure is dead? I grit my teeth together. My body feels tense, like a drawn bowstring. I can hardly believe I said so many awful things to Hijiri. It's true enough that I was upset, but it definitely took things too far. You both did. You both sure did. I want to apologize, but even I can tell, stupid though I am, that it's too late for that. No, it's never too late to apologize. It might be too late to mend things, but it's never too late to say you're sorry. Even if it's just to get it off your chest. I've already ruined everything. There's no way I can ever face Hijiri now, not even to retrieve the rest of my belongings. So I will have to collect all my old stuff on my behalf, not that it matters. My elf forest merchandise will never be able to fix how wretched I feel. I sigh, my cheek pressed against the dirty train window. The old-fashioned train rumbles along, down rusted countryside tracks overgrown with tall grass. Mountains surround me on all sides, lush and green, and so do fields of swaying yellow flowers. I can't recall what these flowers are called. I think they have a funny name. Not that anything seems funny in my current state. My soul, my very reason for living, feels like it's been scooped out of my body. In one day, I lost not only Princess Lulana, but Hijiri's friendship and my new home. It's not a great feeling. In fact, I feel pretty rotten. The compartment about me sways as the train judders along the line. My forehead bumps against the window at irregular intervals, with a series of dull thuds. It hurts quite a bit. Moving would be a trivial issue, but I feel too fatigued to even entertain the thought of sitting myself upright. All I can do is slump, like a tent without any poles. I've never really known what I wanted to do with my life. I'd been adrift for a long time, incredibly aimless, but working as Hijiri's housekeeper gave me a newfound routine. I loved Hijiri's stories earnestly, from the bottom of my heart, and I loved Hijiri too, for writing them. I was passionate about helping her. And where has that passion led me? On a decrepit old train meandering through the countryside, on my way back to Kawasaki. My messenger bag lies on the ground before me, pinned in place by my legs. I'm not sure why I'm bothering to hold on to it when the rest of my life has fallen apart. I could let it go, the few clothes I salvaged, and my phone and my wallet and my keys alongside it, and I wouldn't care. What else do I have left to lose? The rumbling of the train echoes in my ears. My head hurts. Outside, the scenery flashes by. Mountains and forests and fields blur together, nothing more than faint, indistinct shapes. Is it raining outside? No, the weather's too fair for that. The sky is clear and blue, though I feel cast into the doldrums of despair, and the sun is shining. The fault, as always, lies with me. It takes me a few moments to realize it, but when I do, I gasp. I'm crying. I'm almost glad that the train journey back to Kawasaki takes so long, because it gives me enough time to try and piece myself back together. With great effort, I'm eventually able to stem my pathetic sniffling. I wipe my eyes on the back of my arm and force my face into a look of mask-like indifference. My red-rimmed eyes narrowed and my lips pursed. I've often likened Hijiri to a Jizo statue, but I feel like stone myself as I walk through the ticket barrier at KQ Kawasaki Station. It's still bright when I step onto Kawasaki's familiar streets, and the sun sears the top of my head. The streets are crowded with people, so much so I feel disoriented. I only spent 3 months in the countryside, but there was enough time to disconnect me from the hustle and bustle of city life. I walk back home with my head down. I feel too ashamed to meet anybody's eye. The crowd that swells around me is anonymous, but I'm afraid, and feasibly so, that everybody knows what I've done. I've been sent away from my old home in disgrace. I'm a complete and utter failure. When I pass by Blue Mountain, where I used to work, I briefly wonder whether Nina is there, behind the counter, but I don't go inside to check. I don't feel up to seeing her. I don't feel up to seeing anybody, really, or doing anything. Thoughts churn in my head like garbage caught in a fast-running river. What will my mother say when I arrive back home? My father? I didn't tell either of them about my return, despite having several hours to text them during my train journey. It's not like I had anything else to do other than mope, but said moping took precedence over everything. I did fish my phone out a few times during my homeward journey, but I couldn't bring myself to type anything. Confiding in my parents was, and is, a frightening thought, but I can't keep putting it off. I take a right turn down a residential street, leaving the more built-up area around the train station behind me. There are still people here, lingering on the sidewalk, but there aren't nearly as many. It's quieter, and there are fewer cars. This should come as a comfort in my frazzled state, but the newfound quietude, not that it can compare to the countryside, makes me feel even worse. Now, there's nothing to distract me from my anxious thoughts. The soles of my shoes slap against the ground, and my messenger bag bumps against my side. My house is coming into view. I take another right turn, and there it is. It seems to loom in front of me, though it's not a particularly large home, only 2 floors worth, with a flat roof topped with a spiky television aerial. My parents' home is far, far smaller than Hichiri's spacious abode out in the countryside. She has no neighbors to speak of, whereas my parents' house is squeezed tightly between 2 others, number 38 between 36 and 40. My parents' house doesn't have much in the way of a garden. There's a few bushes at the front of the house and a small strip of manicured lawn, but that's about it. There are scarcely any trees around here, only grey sidewalk. Hichiri's home has never felt further away. I miss it, but it's too late for regrets now. I can't go back. I know this logically, but it still takes me a few moments to unstick the soles of my sneakers from the sidewalk. I have to force myself to take a step forwards. Walking 5 paces feels like a monumental challenge, worthy of being an event in the Olympics. I feel exhausted, and I haven't gone inside yet. That will be a challenge in its own right. It's Friday, so my mother should be at home. I bet she'll be sitting in the living room, flipping through a magazine, or maybe cleaning up in the kitchen. She won't be expecting to see me. It'll be a nice surprise for her, if by nice surprise you mean horrible shock. I hope she isn't at home. Well, she doesn't work on Fridays. There's a chance she might have gone to the supermarket. That should delay having to tell her the truth, if only for a few minutes. Not that a few minutes would be enough to get my thoughts in order. Not by any magic. I've already had 4 hours, and not even that was enough. My heart pounds as I stand at the front door, fishing for my keys. It's beating horribly loudly. So much so, I feel like I'm going to be sick. Everything feels 10 times more difficult than it should be, and in my anxious state, I almost drop my keys. I can't seem to do anything right now. Is it any wonder my mother despairs at me? I know she'll be extra disappointed at my inglorious return. Sarah gave me a wonderful job. She practically handed it to me on a platter, and I screwed it up. I'm so stupid. I take a deep breath, trying and failing to steady my nerves. Then I slide in the key into the lock and twist it. I still find myself hoping I'll be forbidden entry, but no. The lock clicks and the door easily opens. I step inside my parents' home, then close the door behind me with a dull thud. This sound rouses my mother, who, as luck would have it, happens to be at home after all. I hear her voice from the living room, paired with the soft thud of her indoor slippers against the wooden floor. Is it you, Yukihiro? You're home early. There wasn't any trouble at work, was... My mother begins, but her voice trails off when she sees me. Her eyes meet mine. Mayo? My mother blinks. She looks stunned at my sudden, inexplicable appearance, but this only lasts for a few moments. She must be worried about me, because her voice soon gives way to concern. Mayo, are you alright? Did something happen? During the last 4 hours, I prepared myself to face my mother's disappointment, even her anger. I didn't think she'd be so sympathetic. I really must look awful. I can't confirm it, not having seen my reflection in a mirror, but I can tell by my mother's expression how dire things must be. I know my clothes and my hair look a mess after my long train journey, and I managed to cry all my makeup off. I can't stop shaking. I've been doing my best to keep it together. Really, I have. But my mother's gentle concern makes something snap inside me. The dam bursts. Then, with a loud cry, "Oh, Mom, I'm so sorry. I did something so stupid and now I've ruined everything. I'm such a moron." I fling myself into my mother's arms and begin to sob. At least her mother seems to be understanding at first. That's always good, and yeah, I'm glad for Mayo there. What do you think I should do, Nina? Did I ruin everything? Will Hijiri ever like me again? Wow. Nina blinks at me, perturbed. She's sitting on the edge of my bed, one leg folded over the other. She looks very sleek and fashionable, in contrast to me. I'm curled up on my side, hugging a pillow tied to my chest. It's a little after midday, but I'm still wearing my pajamas, and my hair's a mess. I haven't felt much like getting changed lately, or showering, or brushing my hair, or even eating. I've spent the last couple of days since my dismissal from Hijiri's home holed up inside my bedroom, feeling sorry for myself. On the plus side, I think I might have lost a couple of pounds. But the negatives far, far outweigh the positives. I feel like I'm going crazy. All the subjugation I've inflicted on myself can't be good for my self-esteem. I don't feel in a fit state to have guests, but I'm glad Nina came over regardless. It took me a whole day to muster up the courage to send her a text informing her of my situation, but the moment I did, she agreed to drop everything solely for my sake. Nina mightn't look like much of a good girl, what with her dyed hair and her acrylic nails, but she's a definite sweetheart. I don't know if I deserve such a considerate friend. I feel like I don't deserve anything much other than, I don't know, death, or maybe disembowelment. I wouldn't want to be too melodramatic. Sure, Mayu, sure. It's not like I've gone and gotten myself fired, all while ruining my relationship with my idol. You're, like, pretty cut about this, huh? Gee, do you think? What tipped you off? I glance at Nina from beneath my bangs. They're getting in the way of my eyes, but I feel too tired to brush them aside. I've really messed up this time, Nina. I don't know how I'll ever make amends with Hijiri, if I even can. I'm afraid she'll never want to speak to me again, not after all the stuff I said to her. What did you say to her exactly? I gave Nina a brief account of my blowout with Hijiri over text, but it was very abridged. I'm not sure I was able to communicate how rapidly the situation descended, especially given all the typos I made in my text. My fingers were shaking quite a bit before I sent it. I don't want to go into it now. Talking about it'll only make me feel worse. I did call her a bitch, though. No kidding. As if I'd kid about something this serious. Jeez. Nina raises a neatly plucked eyebrow. That's not the worst thing you can say to a person, I guess, but it's not exactly polite. I know, right? I'm so stupid. I hug my captured pillow even more tightly to my chest, then bury my head in it. I feel so ashamed, what with my messy hair and pajama-clad body, I can no longer bring myself to look Nina in the eye. Would you forgive me if I called you that? I guess it depends on the context. I'd be a little pissed at first, sure, but I don't really hold grudges. They're like a huge pain. I'm glad you think so, at least. Not that I want to exploit Nina's kindness. I fail to see what I'd gain by calling her a bitch. Between the two of us, I'm definitely bitchier, though I know I don't look the part. I don't wear half so much makeup as Nina does. It's funny how that works out. Not really, the two things don't have anything to do with each other, but okay. But Hijiri's not like that. She's definitely the type who holds grudges. She was pretty aloof when we first met, but she thawed out over time. I thought we'd made a real connection, and then... I sigh, but it comes out sounding more like a groan. I went and screwed it all up, like I always do. If I hadn't run my tear ducts dry the day prior, sobbing into the self-same pillow, I'd probably cry. Fortunately, I feel so dried out and desiccated the tears refuse to come. I don't even feel sad about my current predicament, not anymore. I've progressed beyond that. Now, I just feel empty. I said so many horrid things, all because of a fictional character. Princess Luluna isn't even real. There was no need for me to get so angry. I still don't know why I blew up like that. It makes no sense. I sounded like a real crazy person. You mentioned that in your text, yeah. I don't really get all this Elf Forest drama, but are you sure you got upset because of Lunara? That's Luluna. If I had the energy, which, again, I don't, I'd throw a pillow at Nina's face for that. Luluna might be dead, but Nina could at least honor her memory by getting her name right. Don't disrespect the deceased. Sorry. Nina apologizes, but she doesn't sound very sorry. I still don't think she understands how much Luluna meant to me. Maybe she'd have more of a clue if I blew up at her, like I did Hijiri, but I've exhausted all my anger already. I don't want to push Nina away too. You know I don't know much about Elf Forest. All these fantasy names are, like, totally over my head. I can't remember them. I don't mean any disrespect. I was just wondering. Maybe Lunara wasn't the thing that made you snap? That's the second time Nina's pronounced Luluna's name wrong, even after my correction, but I guess I'll let it slide. It's not like we're in class. She isn't going to be graded on this. What do you mean? You said Hijiri was cold to you when you first moved in, yeah? I remember you telling me about it on the phone. You seemed pretty cut up about it. That's true, yeah. I haven't thought of Hijiri's earlier callousness in a while. I figured the whole being ghosted by my idol arc had been all wrapped up, until this happened. Maybe this is the thrilling sequel to that earlier story beat? It's help, I've been ghosted by my idol too, the resentment returns. I hope there won't be any further installments of the series. I'm worn out. Maybe you still had some negative feelings over all that. Princess Lunara's death could have been, like, the trigger that set you off. It doesn't sound like Hijiri was all that nice to you. She might have deserved it. Though, even if that was the case, it doesn't sound like you dealt with this in the best way imaginable. I dealt with it in, like, the worst way ever. I wish I could see Hijiri again. I miss her. Even though she was mean to you? She wasn't all that bad. She did end up apologizing, though she was still kinda snippy about it. She poked fun at me a lot, but it didn't really bother me. I think that's just the way she is. She's used to keeping people at a distance. Maybe it's because of her family situation? It doesn't sound like she has the best relationship with her parents, not that I know very much about that. I don't know much about Hijiri at all, really. I wince. And I had the audacity to call her a bitch. I mean, who does that? People who are very upset? Well, yeah, I was upset, but now it all seems so stupid. I just opened my mouth and all this crap tumbled out. It wasn't very well thought through. I didn't think about what I was gonna say at all. I didn't think about Hijiri's feelings either. I was so selfish. Now, I'm afraid I've really upset her. And it's been weighing on your mind? I can't think about anything else. Then why don't you call her? Explain the situation. You do know her number, don't you? I do, yeah. But I'm afraid. Of? Of being rejected. I don't know if I could bear it, not a second time. I still haven't recovered from being kicked out of a home. It hurts. So you're just gonna keep on hurting instead of trying to fix things? It's too late to fix anything. Is it, or are you just saying that because it's easier to tell yourself that? I know you, Mayo. You always take the easy way out. You're so lazy. I thought you might have matured a little, but maybe not. You're just the same as you've always been. It's kinda disappointing, to be honest. I mean... Nina glances over me at my disheveled form, all messy hair and rumpled pajamas. I think vaguely, look a bit like Hijiri. She always wore that baggy tracksuit, and I think she slept in it too. I often questioned Hijiri's fashion sense, or lack of, but I think I can see why she did it now. When you feel down, getting dressed up is the last thing on your mind. I envy Nina, who's together enough to coordinate nice outfits every single day. She's younger than I am, but she's way more on the ball. You're in love with her, aren't you? Uh-huh? I've been feeling insensible these last 2 days, all wrapped up in my despair, but the big L word cuts through my despondency. I scramble upright, still clutching my pillow, my eyes agog. What are you talking about, Nina? You don't really think that, do you? I do, yeah. I thought it ever since you called me that one time, sounding like a lost little girl. You're like head over heels for Hijiri. You felt awful when she ignored you, but you still put up with it. Hell, you forgave her for it, 'cause you care about her so much. Most people wouldn't do that, not unless they really liked the other person. You can put up with a lot of crap when you're in love. I don't know about that. I respect Hijiri a bunch, sure. She is my favorite author, but I don't think that's the same as love. I've only known her for a few months. does that matter? It's not logical. People aren't always, and you're as illogical as they come. Nina snorts. Give it some thought. You'll see that I'm right. For the last few months, Hijiri's all you've been able to talk about. If that's not a sign that you're obsessed, I don't know what is. I don't reply to this. I can't find the words. My head is reeling. Could Nina be right? Do I really have a crush on Hijiri? I've not given it much thought, but if it is true, it'd go a long ways to explaining why I feel so wretched. I've had arguments with friends before, but they've never made me feel like this. It really does feel like part of me has been torn out and thrown into the trash. So, I love Hijiri. I guess I can accept that. Strange things have happened. I've never dated anybody before, guys or girls, but I figured from my first year of high school I preferred women. I had some pretty intense relationships with other girls on internet forums during high school, and my relatively recent obsession with Princess Luluna kind of confirmed what I already knew. I'm not super surprised about this. It's kind of a relief, actually, having my feelings spelled out for me. But what am I supposed to do about them? No matter what Nina says, I'm way too chicken to call Hijiri. That's something I absolutely can't do, not with the memory of our argument still fresh in my mind. I don't want to endure even more abuse at Hijiri's hands. That'd hurt more than ever, now I finally know how I feel. Isn't it too late to make amends? Never. Okay, so... I mean, in the first moment I was a bit surprised that she was surprised this was what she's feeling, but I mean, she accepted it fairly quickly. So yeah. And love is not logical. So there's that. I think that's enough for today. A lot of emotions. You finally figured out her feelings. I'm wondering how it is with Hijiri. If she's just... pretending with her emotions, that she's shutting herself off to them, obviously, but is it just outwards or is it internal as well? Maybe we'll find out. Not sure if next time, but we should get some progress, hopefully, and not just more endless moping. So, hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think. And until next time, bye bye.